other end, Troy. Other one, not that.
The other end. Flowers all over. All
I told Maria I'd take her someplace really nice for her 25th anniversary. So tonight that's what we're celebrating. And she's really pissed. Thanks, Terry. But Marie, you have flowers for me. So the other one. No, hold that up so everybody can see it. 75% off because they're 3/4 dead. Okay, Corey, you can give her the last one. Well, now that we're talking about flowers, there's 2 bouquets back there my mother made. And I hope everybody gets a ticket on them. If they don't, I'm sorry you're going to leave so early. And we're hitting over 40,000 that we've raised on these benefits. We didn't do the silent auction and stuff this summer because it just wasn't paying. But we could use some more new blood in here and younger people get involved in this. Next year will be over 50,000, I'm pretty sure, after tonight. The Legion Club will throw in $1,000 each to the Blue Earth County Relay and the Lee Sewer Relay for life. And if the cooks out there would come in, and we had an excellent meal here. Lori, Brad, Troy, and Heather, come on in and take a hand. Well, anyway, thank you. Here they come. Get in here. Be really extra nice to them. I got a private agenda here. The last thing is, the Yeti cooler back there, you know, we lost Jack Hayne a couple years ago, and a few years ago. And Kent and Dolores donated that, so Jack's Hardware, Jack's OK Hardware, so buy chances on that too. So now, I'm going to turn it over to Bob in a second here, but Bob, Tim, and Terry all grew up here. And Pat has rented that cabin over there for 40 years or more. And 40, just a little over 40. And I remember when they were kids, Bob, Tim, and Terry were walking across the lawn out there, and each had a shovel. And my dad says, get out there, find out what the hell they're doing. They start digging tunnels, the whole point will cave in. So But they've been a really big help, all of them, taking docks in and out and boaters and everything, and I want to really thank you guys for that. Bob, it's all yours.
Time to hand the mic over to Terry. We'll be right back.
So I'm not very good with microphones, crowds of people, so I don't know what the hell the crazy Quattro was doing out there, but I'm supposed to talk afterwards so I can re-roast all. You crush your wife during sex and your heart sucks. That was my go-to line. It doesn't even apply. I'm sorry, Mother. Before we hear a whole bunch of fake news, I'm sure here in a little bit, I'd like to say that we've got a lot of great organizations that are in the area with the watershed, and the Suns, and the paddlefish, and which one am I missing? The Legion, and DU, yeah. And those are groups of folks that just decide to help out. It's kind of a they don't who will kind of a deal. So I would like to just thank those folks. I sat on the sidelines for quite a while before I decided to jump in on any of these kind of activities. But it's one of those deals where you're a small town. Everyone's just kind of doing their thing, and if you want something to happen, sometimes you just got to step up and get it done. So I hope that you and your friends and family will consider joining some of these special outfits, helping out at things like this, and helping grow Madison Lake. Like Jim said, we've been here for our whole lives, 40-some years, and press hasn't always been great for Madison Lake, and I think people are just looking at the wrong things, and there's a lot to be thankful for in this town, and I wouldn't go anywhere else, so hopefully these 5 idiots that come back in there with whatever they're doing put on a half-decent show. I mean, seriously, $25, it better not suck. Seriously. They didn't even consult me on anything, so we'll see. You'll get my 2 cents afterwards. The last year's Man of the Year is in the house. David Stover. Let's all give him a hand. All right. So here come some people. You don't wear it half as good as I did, but I'm going to hand the mic over to DJ Jazzy Jeff here.
Greetings. In all seriousness, I'm not supposed to say that yet, but that's what I'm going to start with. Because this is not going to be serious at all.
Can you hear him in the back? He's new to the microphone.
But in all seriousness,
makes you wait for it, but
this one we have some stories to talk about. What I'd like to do first, though, is bow our heads in a moment of silence. There's not a person in here who has not been or will be affected by the thing this benefit is meant to help. So if you would please, join me in bowing your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. This is going to be about Terry. There's not going to be a lot of silence tonight. There's not. And before we get too roasty on this is quite an honor. Man of the Year. They don't just give these things out. They don't just hand them out to anyone. Who got this last year? This is still a good thing.
Give it out to anybody.
Again, in all seriousness, Terry has meant a lot to me me as a younger brother. He has. He has changed how I view people and how I do my job and how I interact with folks. I mean that in all seriousness. And I don't just mean the things not to do, although that's up there quite a bit. Anyone who's a friend of Terry knows he's willing to go the extra mile. He will help you out. Oh, he'll make fun of you while he's doing it.
Get better.
But he is very helpful, and he's done more for this community than I know. I'm not a part of this as much as I used to be, so I only hear secondhand. I was standing in the living room with my wife, talking about our plans for this evening, and my son, 17-year-old son, coming upstairs, and he heard us talking, and he said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, we've got this thing to go to for your Uncle Terry." He said, "What thing is that?" I said, "Well, it's a roast for the Man of the Year honor that's been bestowed upon him." He said, "Man of the Year? How did he get that?" My wife chimed in, "Well, he probably stuffed the ballot box and voted for himself."
Where's Win then?
I'm not much one for scripting. I really am not. However, I did do that this time because there are some
I shuffled
things.
your cards up, I apologize.
There are some things that I just didn't want to forget. Yeah, not that one. Conversation. He voted for himself 50 times. I'm sorry, it was 50 times. Not that one. That's gonna itch. Well, that's for later. He did shuffle these. No, without any further ado, what I would like to do is introduce this panel of fine young gentlemen who have taken the time out of their night to help honor this guy. So, if you please stand up when I call your name. No, I'm not going to call your name. You're going to do some of this work. Introduce yourself to the crowd because not everyone knows who you are. Tell them your relationship with Terry, and then hand it on down the line and we'll get moving.
I'm Jesse McCarthy. Jesse McCarthy. I've known Terry since he was a little boy. My mom and dad used to watch him, Bob, and Tim. And I grew up with them, and we were best friends. And we've been through some crazy times. So I'll let my next best friend tell you.
Hi, my name is Fat Nuts. Or Fastnet, Mike Fastnet. I'm a part of the Terry Mike Jesse crowd. We all did Terry Mike Jesse stuff that you're soon to hear about. So, yeah. There's some exclusions to Tim. That's probably because he punched me in the face one time. But anyways, that's what I got. I'm here to share stories of a great man and his greatness.
I am not Terry. Neither am I. I'm Eric. I grew up with all these guys. It's the age of about 5. Not a better group of guys in the whole world. And as Terry said, just this summer, you know you're best friends when you don't mind seeing each other in your underwear. I don't really understand that statement, but he said it.
All right, so here we are. Let's first realize who it is we're actually talking about. We are talking about Terry Weston, who's never been more personified by this.
Get your pants on.
For the rest of the evening, this is not just going to be the panel's job to do this work. It's going to be yours as well. So what I would please ask of you as we move through this material, if something strikes you as funny, or I was going to say intelligent, I'm sorry, funny, interesting, please let me know. I'll be more than willing to hand you the microphone. The one thing I will ask of you, though, to get my attention, is that you strike. Turn this off? That you strike? Opposed. That you strike? Who put batteries in?
Rory, he said they're good for 3 months.
I heard that. I'll ask that we're going to get the microphone thing changed and fixed right here, but in order for you to tell me that you're going to share a story with Terry, you're going to have to do this. Stand up and go, me. Because this is Terry.
I gotta run this whole goddamn thing by myself. Hello? Here we go. You ready?
Italian.
Stallion.
And Mexico.
Check 2 siblings.
So, as I was putting this thing together, first of all, I was honored to be tasked with this task. I honestly was. I think it was by default. I was the only one who could do it. But nonetheless, I was honored, especially in light of some of the recent news events. I was talking with my brother on a trip here just the other day. He said, hey, did you hear the news? There were 2 young kids. They were twins. One of them stabbed his older brother to death. He was about 4 or 5 years older than him, and he thought, I can see that. I'm about 4 or 5 years older than that. I didn't know the theme for the evening of roasting this person. I had some ideas. There was some help. First thing that struck my mind as I looked at this picture was, well, he'd look a lot better with his shirt on. Little did we know that I would be reading, or you would be reading his name in the Mankato Free Press, and it wouldn't be in what used to be the court section. Have anything to do with overturned vehicles or such items. Rather, it was something titled Man of the Year. Man of the Year. So, the Man of the Year's all grown up. He's still wearing the same shirt. You will see him about town representing this shirt at many fine events. Not this one, though. Other folks have taken that responsibility from him. So the theme, I couldn't figure out what theme I should use. I mean, there are so many different things that this man entails. But as I was perusing my pictures, going back and forth, very few people will strike that pose with a bullhead. This is one of them. Although, as we'll find out, that pose gets struck for just no damn good reason at all. So one of the things I noticed as I was looking through my pictures was this came up a lot. And like, not just last week or last month, but we're talking decades ago. And it kept coming up again and again and again.
That's Tim.
And I just couldn't get away. And oh, hey, trust me, I trimmed stuff out of here. There were 437 slides to this presentation. We don't got that kind of time. So I'm only showing you like a small percentage of this. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you should be wearing. All things are appropriate for the skin shirt. With this one. It doesn't matter what decade you're trying to represent, what kind of alcoholic beverage you are consuming.
That's a hot picture. I don't remember that.
Which is a common theme to many of the pictures that have Terry in them. He doesn't remember them. But we are here as his friends to help remind him of some of his better moments.
Oh, I love it.
I just tell you what.
Go Madison Lake. Yeah. Little League, of course.
I could have gone the good parent route. Because Terry is nothing if not a good, loving parent that cares very much for his children. Everyone will agree with that sentiment, his kids included. Thankfully, there's some photographic evidence of that. It's not even Diet Pepsi. Where's the subject? But he is willing to take one for the team. Warm up the plug here, then up. keep things real. Never one to mug for the camera, this one. All the pictures you see were taken without his knowledge of the camera being present, I'm sure. And of course, being the dedicated safety professional that he is, anytime anything looks to be amiss or slightly dangerous, he takes immediate steps to rectify the situation, which we will see several times this evening. His sense of urgency in fixing those things that are unsafe, that may cause others harm, that's the first thing he thinks of. We gotta get this fixed. Well, first we gotta grab the camera, and then we might have to say a few things about it. No, I didn't know what I should use as the theme. Terry's many things to many people. He's kind and dedicated and loving and certainly humble. Just ask him. He's also one that's very happy with his lot in life. He is never one to try to misrepresent the truth or portray a situation that is not in fact how it is. He would never do that kind of thing. What you see is what you... Well, sometimes there might be a little misrepresentation of the truth. I was standing outside his house not but 2 days ago. We were getting ready to go somewhere. And he stopped and he told me a story. He said, you know those birds that sit in the tree and they make that noise? I said, what noise? He goes, you know that noise. It sounds like Terry, Terry, Terry. I'm like, I never heard goddamn birds say Terry. I've heard one go, ee, 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 but through Terry's ears, evidently the bird was calling his name. So if you ever hear the Terry bird again, yeah, they're just by his house and when he's around. This is Terry Weston. So this is what I ended up with. Of all the things that I could use as being the theme for tonight, I felt this is probably the most appropriate. I don't mean the pose necessarily. I mean the term. This is one of his favorite terms. He uses it constantly. He will use it in front of clients and classes, friends and family. I believe he lives by this credo, which is this word. Not the tie bowl that Billy Blanks does, but this tie bowl. Anybody who's not Terry have any idea what this tie bowl stands for? Anybody? You don't have to stand up and do this either. You can just shout it out.
Take your boobs off.
Close second. I like the way you think. He doesn't know what it means. Oh, he will as soon as I remind him. Because he says it all the time. He advocates for it. It stands for, he's a safety professional, right? By trade and training. And he's very good at this job. Trust me, he is. It stands for turn your brain off. Turn your brain off. And that will be the theme for the rest of the evening. Turn your brain off. Oh, it really does. It says it all the time.
He does.
Turn your brain off. Oh, it's not the only time. All right, we've met most of our roast panel this evening. Unfortunately, not everyone was here. Or not everyone's here. Not everyone could make it. Bruce Seberg was kind enough to forward several observations that he made of Terry over the years. He put them in a video format. I suspect anyone who knows this one will recognize the sentiments spoken by Bruce. Oh, some observations. Hold on. See, not everyone up here who has something to say, A, would be willing to say it, or two, is sitting here, like I just said, Hold on a minute, this is really good.
You didn't put those back in order while they were introducing themselves?
You know you are a captivating person. Yeah, I don't want to say who did this. I don't want her identity to be revealed. But when your daughter makes observations of you and then writes them down, you know you've got it made. So there was a whole book written by, again, I don't want to say who this was, but by Terry's daughter on several things that some of they just ring so true. And before I let Bruce start talking about whatever the world in FC is, incidentally, I was an FC in the United States Navy. I was. That's not at all what this FC stands for. But before I let Bruce talk about it, I do want to make mention of some tips that this person put together on how to be cool. Tip number 3, when you fart, make sure to sniff profusely to obtain the largest amount of coolness. You should smell everything and anything at any time, but especially after you fart. And come on, who doesn't think flatulence is funny?
Out here, it's an honor to be at this fine event, the Roast-a-thon of Terry Weston. Terry is the master of many things. He will be the first one to tell you. He is so good at so many things. He's the master of the fart cough. You may find yourself at a fine dining restaurant, maybe having some sushi, maybe some hibachi, and Terry will start to fart and cover that fart with a cough. He knows his timing is off, and then he starts laughing. And after a little while, Tommy will start to elbow him in the ribs. Thus, he starts to cry and fart and laugh until he's exhausted and he starts a new joke. This is such a fine event. I'm proud to be here. Terry deserves everything he gets. I hope he gets it on a regular basis. That's what she said. Have a great night. In your mouth.
You will also notice several catchphrases or sayings uttered by those participating this evening. And for those of you who don't know him well or spend a lot of time with him, you may not... Where's my phone?
In your hot pants?
You may not catch some of these mannerisms as being something that he does. Hold on, where's my phone? But trust me, hold on. Oh yeah, watch it. You gotta send it in for the third time because watch this. Hold on a minute. You may notice some things that seem out of sorts. What is that person doing? If it looks like we're suffering some sort of problem up here, it's probably just us showing you some of the things that Terry does a lot. So just forewarning.
Talking about the FC, me, Mike, and Terry, and Tim.
Terry, Mike, and I.
Terry and Mike and I, thank you for correcting me there, Mr. Terry.
Learn English.
We had a deep conversation. Sat down under Mike's trees one day, and Terry came out and asked us, which way do you guys wipe? And me and Mike looked at him and we're like, what the hell are you talking about? And he says, do you guys wipe from the front or the back? And we're like, we wipe from the back. He goes, no, you gotta wipe from the front. It's much easier.
I'll maintain that.
Today he still maintains it. There you go.
Oh, you can just jump in anytime. See? It doesn't take much. This, of course, the whole theme of tonight will not be flatulence. It could be. I got a lot of material, but it won't be. But this wasn't just something he does out in public. This is ingrained in this man's soiled underpants, but also in his being and his family, and it's his go-to.
He says, I'm your guardian angel, I'm your special friend.
Okay, outside of the laugh, which I honestly was going to loop, but I just couldn't make myself do it. I hear it enough as it is. If you missed what happened there, as his daughter was trying to read what her guardian angel Christmas present was, you farted over her. Speaking of farts, we spend a lot of time in the middle of the woods, in a tent, when we deer hunt every year. Unfortunately, most of those stories cannot be relayed this evening.
What happens to deer camp stays in deer.
Statute of limitations hasn't run out yet, right? And there are still some things that haven't been pegged on us yet. So most of that stuff's going to go without being said. However, there are some things that just need to be said. Some of them are said by others. And some of them I can just let speak for themselves. Oh, pay no attention to that.
Nice job on the quiz. Are you ready for the last section? I thought so. Isn't learning fun? Right now I'm learning how to drive a semi. I guess I need a little more training. There are no sidekicks on TV.
Yeah. Let's talk about semis. This is me. I got notes. Here's that. Oh, man. Remember when you had hair? Oh, wait, that's when we're going to roast Mike. I forgot. Whoa. Oh, remember when you looked like Eddie Vedder? Oh, that was your brother. Never mind. Whew. Anyhow. So this guy here pretty much is better than all you guys at pretty much everything, right? I mean, let's admit it, really? He is, right? Except for one or two things. Oh, nothing on the back of that. No, it is her letterhead. Anybody want to buy some LuLaRoe? I, for one, came up with much better games when I was a kid. I had to ask Tim earlier, who was it that was swinging the hammer and who walked into it? Never mind. We'll come back to that.
I know the answer. Great news.
Let's not laugh too much. We don't want to break that collarbone.
4 times is normal.
Right. And by the way, why is your shirt still on?
It's early. You go to the bar after this?
Best man at my wedding. Only one there with a shirt off.
You can all be cool.
And I can tell you're not drunk yet either. Does anybody know how to tell when he's drunk?
Sit up.
Pat, go ahead.
Oh, I have nothing to say.
Well, you raise your hand. Oh, you know how, but you're not willing to say it. Oh, Mike's got it. What do you got? There you are. That's the theory laugh. Exactly right. Good job. I didn't even cue you on that one. But anywho's, speaking of the semi, for those that don't know, Terry and I drove a semi once. Wasn't ours. I mean, who drives their own semi? I'll have you know, I drove that down the street, made a turn, made another turn. I drove it across the highway. Come on, I got talent. I drove it down a hill with a curve at the bottom. I got talent. And I parked it because I was getting scared because it wasn't our semi.
Everybody clocked out.
Oh yeah, hey, did I see one of the, yeah, that chumbalong there was riding on the gas tank. Screaming loudly as we drove by Dad's house. So anyway, we get out, the four of us take a boat, cross the lake, back to Terry's vehicle. And then he says the 6 words that cost me more money than my own wedding. We have to bring it back. Keep in mind, I made 2 90-degree turns and a gentle curve down a hill. He can't make one turn without putting it in the creek on its side, just like, oh, that semi right there. So Terry, I think we're all better semi drivers.
I had 2 more turns to practice and I made that third one.
But I don't think you would have. You guys know who Jeff Foxworthy is? Yeah, he's got that, you might be a redneck. We'll do a little show of hands here. Just find out if you guys are an idiot. Who here does not watch The Office? You're an idiot. Who here will only watch comedies for movies? You're an idiot. Who?
The ones that raise their hand.
I'm speaking here. It's my turn, not you. Right? Get take your shirt off. Yeah, I believe it. Who here does not live in their hometown anymore? The town they grew up in.
Get the hell out of here.
You are all idiots. I have heard more than once that Bob is an idiot for moving away from Madison Lake. And there's one more thing that I know for sure I'm better at. I thought only porn stars bleach their butt. He might have to because I am obviously a much better ass wiper. Why is that so brown? Maybe you should consider the other way.
Looking good. I got something to add. Hey. This event here was a dinner party. It was an 80s dinner party. As you can tell by the sweet head of hair there. So for the dinner party, we offered up some drinks. Everybody has to bring their own drinks, but we made an 80s themed drink called, Terry? That's how do you say, the first letter. Harvey Wallbanger. The Harvey Wallbanger. Name his child after that. There's no truth in that. So Terry's like, yeah, Harvey Wallbanger. What the hell? We had like orange juice. I'll have one of them. I'll have another one. There you go. And that's what the end of the night looked like.
And who doesn't want the end of their night to look like that? That has been blurred out. I mean, for those of you really looking hard. I know it's hard to tell, but it has been.
Pretty real.
Oh, you dropped those? Here, just 1 second. I picked up milk duds. Anybody didn't see it? I got milk duds hanging here.
Is that what they're called down there?
Yes, they are called milk duds. Alright. So, back when we were teenagers,
A couple years ago.
yeah, like 2 or 3 minutes ago, mentally we've been teenagers forever. But, you know, we got gray hair and gray chest hair and stuff like that. Anyways, when we were, yeah, we got hair in places that I don't know that I've ever should have had hair. But anyhow, when we were kids, you know, we had the testosterone flowing and stuff, and we had to, you know, lift weights, you know, get bigger, get stronger, get bigger, whatever. So we go and lift for like a month, 2 days, 6 weeks, I don't know what it was. And after that, Jesse's like, let's measure our chests. And Terry's like, your chest is bigger than mine. Jesse's like, your chest is bigger than mine. So I didn't compete, you know. I'm good at eating and drinking beer, see. But, you know, they had big chests. They had, back in teenager years, they had big chests and stuff. So we got out the seamstress tape and we started measuring. I measured Jesse, and I don't know what the measurement was. I think it was like 43 million milliliters or something like that.
That's exactly what it was.
Milliliters. And so I measured Terry, and Terry comes in at 42.5 milliliters. And Terry was just incredulous at this. He's like, in the words of Jesse, well, fuck bullshit. He tries again to measure, and I'm trying to get a good measurement, and Terry's sitting there just doing all sorts of angles and stuff, trying to get the bigger measurement, and I'm trying to get the bigger measurement because I know he wants to win.
What?
Weird. Yeah, weird. He doesn't want to win ever. So he's trying to win, and I'm getting this bigger measurement. And while he's sitting there flexing and just doing what he did on the pictures there, he is holding his breath the whole time. And I'm like, I had no clue. So he starts leaning back into me, and I'm like, why are you moving back into me, man? You're not going to get a bigger measurement like this. So I just go and step out of the way. And he's doing a nesty plunge. So his nesty plunge was, you know, I'm going to end up planking on 1.5 inch gravel with all the jagged edges and stuff. So, but there was one thing in the way. A 77 Chevy Impala steel bumper. And, you know, they made them out of steel. They don't make them out of steel much anymore. I think it's all fiberglass. I think Terry would take credit that they changed all the bumpers because of him. So he does this plank. He's falling back, and he snaps his head, snaps it forward, snaps it back onto the 1.5 inch gravel, and he's passed out there. Meanwhile, Jesse and me, we saw what was happening. We jumped into ERT mode, emergency response team. Here's your lesson on how to be an emergency response team member. You do this. So we got done doing that, you know, and we see Terry waking up, and he's waking up, and he does this, looking at the bumper, and kind of like that. And he's looking, he's like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, it is. He's like, why does my head hurt so much? And who are these two guys trying to rescue me? You know, with our ERT. So when he starts coming to, he does all this normal Terry stuff like faggot ass and slit your throat and cock bag. But he did rush to us and really thank us for rushing to his rescue, which we would do over and over and over. So that was just lesson 1 in passing out. Lesson 2 is back in the day, we used to try to make ourselves pass out. So we would sit in a chair and we would do this number.
Check.
Hold our carotid arteries, yeah, you're more medical than I am. So we would do this and it would make us pass out. We'd wake up, we'd be like,
drugs.
So him and his brother are kind of debating about how to do this, I guess, down by the Pioneer Plaza. And Terry decides, oh, I'm going to try it. And he goes and he does that number, standing on a sidewalk. And he passes out, does an SD plunge again, knocks his head on the back of the... I wasn't there, so there's more details to this, but he doesn't learn his lesson that quick. So those are my stories of Terry. There's probably going to be many more, but I just want to share them. Good one.
Anybody out in the crowd? Come on. Grandma Pat, I see you standing up. Very well. So, many of you have noted throughout the years Terry's impeccable style in many things. Clothing and attire being one of them. As a matter of fact, so much so that even as far back as 12 or 14 years ago, people were making observations about his attire. Comments such as this. Again, I won't say where these came from, but when she wrote them, I think she was like 18 years old. One of them talking about jeans. Jeans. If you want to look as fresh as all the other hip dudes, make sure to have at least 2 pairs of ripped out in the butt or the crotch jeans at all times.
You saying in the butt top?
And to that end, no pun intended.
And with another observation for all you roastaholics, you ever realize Terry has more wardrobe malfunctions than the entire cast of Shaving Ryan's Privates? He does. Rips his shirt off at a karaoke contest. He's on stage at Battlefish Days with no shirt on. He likes to rip his pants in the crotch a lot. Happens on a regular basis. I've seen it twice. It's just something he does. It's the town he lives in. Ripped crotch town. In your mouth.
Did you say in your mouth?
What's the end of that?
Oh yeah, there he is again. With his shirt again, it appears.
I remember that.
There.
Me.
So, Terry says, pounding some steaks for fats. Got one of these post pounders. Yay tall. Got the handles. Pound, right?
What was that, Tim?
Pound. Anybody got time for that? Haroo! Lifts it up. On the way down, the back edge catches the top of the post. And haroo! Concussed. So I'm wondering, this guy he can be as dumb as a bag of hammers. The memory of a mouse. And I gotta wonder, is this because of when he hit his head? Or is it just because he's getting old? This dude's old. Man, I was at Sandwich wedding. No bullshit. And this guy comes up and he's with the wedding party and with Terry, who's best man at Sandwich wedding. Hi, I'm Tim Weston. Oh, Terry must be your dad. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's my dad. True story.
obviously, I mean, look at this guy. He is getting old. So I'm thinking, he's got a terrible memory. And I'm going to tell you a story about his memory after. We'll look at some of Terry's pictures. Kind of in midlife crisis. He wants to grow that hair out. So I'm thinking, what is this guy going to look like in about 25 years? So we do some computer generated, but no, that's not it. That's not it. Terry, 25 years.
These observations that were made were from a publication circa 1994, How to Be Cool. Tip number 4, make fun of your mother as much as possible. Do this in public and in large groups of people, although it's best to do this while she is sitting right next to you.
I didn't get to tell my story. So, just this past Paddlefish Days, were you guys at Paddlefish Days? Yeah. Great success. A big hand of the Paddlefish Days committee did a great job. So this year, the Sons of the American Legion thought we'd get a group of guys together, the firing squad, we'll get in the trailer, we'll get the guns, we'll go make some noise in the streets of Madison Lake. Who doesn't like guns, right? So the idea was we're all going to get in the back of this trailer, a Luma trailer. And every block, every intersection, we were going to stop and we were going to ready, aim, fire off a few rounds, right? So Terry's like, I'll drive. Drive my Jeep. You guys see my Jeep? Best looking Jeep in town. Better than your Jeep. Better than your Jeep. And I didn't pay as much as you did. I got the best deal and this best Jeep. Thank you. I will be driving that. Terry, your Jeep is an automatic transmission. We're going to be standing in the back of a trailer. Doesn't matter. It looks cool. Driving my Jeep. Okay, just take it easy. So we get around the first corner. All the guys stand up, ready, aim, fire. Terry takes off. We're like, dude, man, wait until we sit down. This is a nice trailer, but when you move like that, and we're standing in a trailer, obviously, it's not good. So we sit down, tell Tim Osted, who's in the back, co-pilot, tell him to wait until we sit down to go. Yeah. Okay. Tells Terry, I can see him in the rearview mirror. We get to the next intersection. Ready, aim, fire. We go to sit down, and he takes off again. We're like, what the hell? This time we don't talk to Tim, we just, Terry. And he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot. One block, he forgot. One block, he forgot. Block number 3. We stop. Ready, aim, fire. Go to sit down. And he hammers on the gas again. We're all over the place. And these guys are like, geez, he's doing it on purpose. I said, bullshit. I can see him in the mirror. He's like, I forgot again. One block. Third time. This one on 7 blocks in a row. And he forgot every single time, straight up. Seriously, forgot. Postponed? Or just because he's so goddamn old?
One of the aforementioned required 2 or more pair of jeans ripped out in the crotch or the binders. Again, that has yet to be adjudicated, so don't mention it anymore. It doesn't matter where you are. There are some tips and some vocabulary that will take you far in this life of yours, or the world, for you worldly travelers. Again, some observations made by those other than me, whoever she may be. Ski. Add this to the end of every single word you say. Any word. For example, beer ski. There's more.
So you got a beer ski for me there?
Foreskin. Anytime the number 4 comes up, please substitute foreskin. Any numerical value. Keep in mind, of course, this is to make you cool. Put your clothes back on. Mention that anytime you walk into, well, let's just say it was your daughter's room, or some other place where she may or may not be sitting with a boyfriend, because this always makes people more comfortable. Happy birthday! Use this expression at every event that is not a birthday. Make sure to drag the syllables out and make it sound like Chris Farley if at all possible.
That's a Frosty the Snowman gig. I stole it.
Suckball. This is a beautiful term that can be used sporadically throughout any dialogue. Make sure to say it loudly to catch everyone's attention. Suckball. Oh, tip number 5. Always, people, always remember to insult your friends. Constantly, and with great vigor.
Here's wrong. Melon head, you suck. Fighting an ass.
And above all, you do you, Scotty P.
What is that?
Do you. If you ever wanted to know what picture should go with the question, what's a Harvey Waldbanger? That, my friends, is Harvey Waldbanger.
Oh, poor Tanya.
They just keep cropping up. I don't know. All right, it's been proven. Anybody in the crowd? Nobody's. Come on. I know there's a couple of you out there. I know because you told me. I could come hunt you down. I see you, Drew. Never one for modesty or good fashion sense. This man will wear anything at any time. And of course, he does it well.
Shiny quarters?
Do you have pants on, Terry?
If I had a quarter, I don't know what to say. This maybe would have been better served when talking about the age thing. I do believe he climbed up the stairs and then sat down. Notice he did have his safety glasses on top of his head. His forehead is safe from minor impacts and flying debris. This guy is cool. You just ask him. You just ask him. And then, of course, he'll show you his backside in the mirror of his bathroom selfie that he took. Of the vest that he got, that's better than yours. Because he talked to a gal on the computer and she was going to do this thing for him. I've never seen that anywhere other than in his bathroom selfie shot. He took it to the Vikings. Didn't wear it, but he took it there. Anybody else out in the crowd got a little observation of any kind? Like maybe just a small vignette. Pardon my French.
That's French, people.
Do I need to get closer? You know I'm looking at you. A couple of words? Yes! First one in the crowd, here you go!
I wasn't really expecting to speak tonight, so I made some notes. I met Terry, 13, 14 years ago. I was just starting out my grown-up career at South Central College, and for one of our in-services where everyone gets the day off and they get to learn things, I went to learn how to lift things without hurting my back. And Terry had me come up to the front of the stage and show him my technique so that he could critique me on everything I was doing wrong. But unfortunately for him, I actually had pretty good technique for some reason. So he asked me where I learned it, and I didn't have an answer for that. So he was so impressed that he asked me to make a video with him. So we...
Okay, never mind.
Okay. So we... Hang on. So we created this training video for how to lift things, and got a lot of mileage out of that over the years. I think, looking back, at the time I didn't realize it because I didn't know Terry very well, but looking back, we went and I tagged along as he was teaching this factory this room full of production workers how to lift. And I think the cameras changed his demeanor a little bit because he was very on, and he was very aggressive. It was a lot of, you think if you lift like that for 5 years, what do you think's going to happen to your knees? What do you think you're doing? And I was pretty proud of this video. When it was done, I showed it to my dad, and he said, I would have punched that guy in the face. And of course, for the part of the video where we went into the mechanics of lifting, Terry thought it would be a good idea to go to his home gym and do some deadlifting on camera, so that made it into the video. Looking back, I guess it wasn't surprising that, especially given the theme of tonight. But anyway, we've gotten to travel around a lot since then and shoot different videos, and it's been a lot of fun. It really kind of opened up some pathways for me that I wouldn't have gone down. Got to spend a lot of time in the car with Terry and on planes and listen to all his stories about Madison Lake that didn't mean much to me as a big city Mankato guy. But got to hear him talk trash about all of you. And but it kind of, through him dragging me out here for things like this and the chili feed, I kind of feel like I've become a bit of an honorary Madison Lake resident myself. And it's really nice town to get here. On one of those long